Each lateral body wall falls towards the midline, rolling the edges of the embryonic disc ventrally to form a cylindrical embryo. As lateral and ventral body walls form, part of the yolk sac is incorporated into the embryo as the midgut. Simultaneously, the connection of the midgut with the yolk sac is reduced to a yolk stalk or a vitelline duct. After folding, the area of the amnion attachment to the embryo is reduced. It is reduced to a narrow umbilicus on its ventral surface. As the midgut is separated from the yolk sac, it attaches to the dorsal abdominal wall via a thin dorsal mesentery. As the umbilical cord forms, the ventral fusion of the lateral folds reduces the area of communication between the intra and extraembryonic coleum. As the amniotic cavity enlarges and obliterates the extraembryonic coleum, the amnion forms an outer covering for the umbilical cord.
Longitudinal folding produces both head and tail folds or flexion and creates a cranial and caudal region to the embryo. Head fold. Neural folds at the end of week 3 begin to develop into brain and project dorsally into the amniotic cavity. The forebrain grows cranially beyond the oropharyngeal membrane and overhangs the primitive heart. At the same time, the septum transversum, a mass of the mesoderm cranial to the pericardial column, the heart, the pericardial column, and the oropharyngeal membrane turn onto the ventral surface. During folding, part of the yolk sac is incorporated as the foregut between the brain and heart, ending bindally at the oropharyngeal membrane. The membrane separates the foregut from the stodium or primitive mouth cavity. After folding, the septum transversum lies caudal to the heart and develops into a major portion of the diaphragm. Before folding, the intra-embryonic column is a flattened horseshoe-shaped cavity. After folding, the pericardial column lies ventrally, and the peritoneal canals run dorsally over the septum transversum to join the peritoneal column, which on each side communicates with the extraembryonic column. The tail fold, the caudal end, takes place later than the head fold and results from the dorsal and caudal growth of the neural tube. As the embryo grows, the tail region projects over the cloacal membrane, which eventually comes to lie ventrally. During folding, part of the yolk sac is incorporated into the embryo as the hindgut.